She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hey, did you know that Americans spend $28 billion every year in divorce? Think about that. That's crazy. Have you ever thought about how expensive divorce is? You know what's so sad about that? Is that here you might be that person that wants to be successful, and you want to be successful in every area of your life. And sadly, most people's goals are only financial goals. Most people, if they have any goals at all, it's financial and career goals, generally is what the goals are. Very few have other kinds of goals. The most driven people, money is the main thing. And sadly, is that the family ends up getting sacrificed. When we're working so hard, we are neglecting the most important relationship and, in turn, the most expensive relationship. So divorce is expensive. Let's talk about how to bypass this whole idea, right? Think about it. What are some other options that we can be doing? Some might say not get married at all. Well, here on the Dani Johnson Show, we're about your full success, like a holistic approach to success. Isn't it interesting that people spend 6 figures on getting a college education, but they spend no money in training and development on how to have a harmonious and passionate marriage? That people spend more money going to business seminars. They spend more money into extra training and development and extra classes for their profession, but they spend absolutely nothing on learning how to be married. Like, wait, shouldn't I just have to know how to be married? No, obviously not. 1 out of 2 marriages are going to end in a divorce. So what is that about? Like, people are getting married hoping that they don't end up in a divorce. They're getting married hoping they've married the right person. There's no such thing as marrying the right person. It's about becoming the right person. Both of you becoming the right person. Both of you learning how to communicate in such a dynamic way that it creates harmony, a great sex life, that it creates what? A power together, a power couple together, grooming up the next generation and your children to be successful in their lives. And I'm not talking about success in money. I'm talking about success holistically, the entire picture. So this is what we're talking about today. We're talking about the expense of divorce. We're going to hear from people who have walked this path, what advice they might have for us to not end up in that exact same place. So we've got Dale from Florida. Dale, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Thank you.
So what about you? What's been your experience with divorce?
Well, you have to separate assets, and whatever you accumulated during the marriage gets split up, and you end up having to refinance houses. Then you have to work on, I had a child, so you had to work on a visitation schedule, and you have to co-parent, and sometimes both parties don't agree about how to raise a child. So that has its own challenges. Yeah.
Which was the same when you were in the marriage, right?
Yeah, but it was, the child was 18 months old when we got divorced. So there wasn't enough time to figure out exactly, how do you raise this child?
Sure. You didn't so much see the differences when it was a baby, the difference in raising. Right. Mm-hmm. So you tell me, how much would you say was the cost of your divorce?
It's still ongoing, but over $150,000.
And what do you mean it's still ongoing?
Well, because I still am obligated to pay an enormous amount of child support.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest misconception. They think, well, you would have paid that if you were in the marriage. Well, no. I mean, if I paid the amount I'm paying now for the other children I have, there's no money left for anything else. I mean, so no, that's not the case. And I said the rude awakening for me was sit in front of the magistrate and they tell you, he looks over at my ex-wife and says, "Hey, if you need more money, just let us know." So you're like, and then your new wife's like, "Yeah, you go back to court and renegotiate that." Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
You weren't there. You didn't go through it.
Mm-hmm. So $150,000 just at the beginning of the divorce, and $150,000. I mean, how much was paid in lawyers' fees?
Well, we settled most of it. We settled most of it out, without lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, essentially that we had to agree on some things,
Mm-hmm.
and so we didn't have the lawyers. The lawyers, can cost. My sister got divorced. $50,000 was just the lawyers.
Yep.
And because they were arguing about,
Yep.
they weren't agreeing on anything for the divorce, and
Yep.
just then at the end of the day, it was like, well, I don't want those things anymore. And it's like, well, you just spent all this money in attorney fees, and you're not even fulfilling your obligations of what you fought for.
Wow.
So, it's tough all the way around, especially when you have a tie of a child, because there's always going to be a connection.
Yeah. Forever.
Forever,
Forever,
yeah.
Dale. Forever. Like ever and ever and ever. That's the wild thing, is that people think that when I could be rid of this. Like, no, you're never going to be rid of the person if you have a child. Never. Ever.
So I think the money is a big deal, but I also think like the emotional stress and pain and of it as well. The disconnect you have with, you don't have the same relationship you could have had if they lived in your house the whole time.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yep.
and that's tough. It's really, really tough. And then, then your ex says, your kid gets in trouble. Your ex says, "Oh, he can get his driving permit." You're like, no, if he's in my house, he wouldn't be getting his driving permit. Like, oh, are you going to let him drive your car? I'm like, no.
Wow.
So there's those things as they age too, and
Yeah.
it gets tougher in some ways.
Yes, it is. It is. So there's not only $150,000 in cash that is like paid into a divorce, but then the ongoing expense, but most importantly is the emotional expense during the divorce, the emotional expense after the divorce. This is Dani Johnson. We're going to be trying to find solutions, and so you're going to hear how other people have walked through this so that you can make a real decision. Like, look at the full picture here. Because divorce is very expensive. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after you check this out. Do you have a closet full of clothes yet say, "I have nothing to wear"? Are you a mom doing her best but desperately lacking me time? Or maybe your schedule has you dressing practically instead of powerfully. What if I told you there's a system, a blueprint that can save you time, money, and turn every head in the room, as well as impact the world through fashion? Friend, you're in the fashion business whether you like it or not. You're an ambassador representing your faith, your marriage, family, and business. Style is just a skill made easy with 123 Style Me. 10 steps to style success that will expand your leadership, save you hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. This program will bring you peace of mind, reignite your marriage, make you more productive, respected, and instantly boost your confidence, equipping you to be bold and beautiful. Go to courses.lindapage.com. Again, that is courses.lindapage.com, and make a priceless investment in yourself. Are you confident that you're always getting a good deal? Have you been equipped with the negotiation confidence, strategies, tactics, and supporting tools you need to close world-class deals? Finally, JPA is making the exact same specialized negotiation training and secrets used by the world's largest, most successful corporations available to everyone. Proven in more than 60 countries and used by brands like Adidas, Vodafone, Pfizer, Nokia, and others, the JPA negotiation method will set you up to save money and time while significantly increasing your profits. It doesn't matter if you're buying or selling real estate, closing contracts with suppliers, or selling products and services to individuals or organizations. Using their simple step-by-step negotiation preparation checklist, you'll be ready to confidently slug it out toe-to-toe with the toughest professional negotiators. It's time for you to stop leaving money and opportunity on the table. Go to bizneg.com/events to register now. Again, that's bizneg.com/events. Get registered today.
Did you know you can take The Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
So, are you in a relationship where you feel like the only way out is to end it in a divorce? If that's where you're at right now, hi, I'm Dani Johnson. This is the Dani Johnson Show. I want to tell you that you might want to look at a full picture. You might want to look at maybe a different side, see it from a different perspective. Let's look at some of the facts. Like with 1 and 2 marriages ending in divorce, it seems like divorce is a really, really good industry for some people to be in because $28 billion is spent in divorce. In my opinion, what happens is our society has actually bred us for divorce. Even our churches have bred us for divorce. Why? Well, the church has 1 out of 2 marriages ending in divorce as well. So we obviously lack a tremendous amount of training in being able to be married successfully. In fact, we had done a quick study just amongst our clients and found out, and in fact, just on Facebook, actually, we actually did a study on Facebook. These weren't even necessarily clients, but a study that had proved to us that 23% of the people said their marriage was boring. Okay. The next giant chunk, over 50%, said their marriage was okay. And to me, that's like, it was nearly 80% between these 2 categories, boring or okay. That's a marriage that's heading for divorce. We likely to spend a lot of money on our education or a lot of money in training for business or training for our career or making money. We invest into things that make us money, but we don't invest into our marriages. But if you end in divorce, you're definitely investing into a divorce, which can be very expensive. Here's some other statistics that we found out. According to maritalstatus.com, the average divorce costs around $20,000 and takes 10.7 months to finish. So is there another solution? Is there another way? You think, oh no, we'll split, we'll be fine, we're not going to fight over things. Really? Well, the odds are not for you in this particular case. Not to mention the underlying bitterness, the emotional havoc that wreaks on you, your confidence that is tapped out. Have you ever known someone going through divorce? Are they being able to perform well at their job? Are they being able to think clearly? Think about it. It affects everything. And I personally think that our society has this set up to fail us. Why? Because now it's a wealth transfer. It's a wealth transfer. The wealth doesn't get transferred to the next generation, and people don't ever become financially stable when they have suffered through a divorce. And I'm not saying not ever, please don't get me wrong. I'm saying it's much harder. It's much harder to recover from such a horrible experience like a divorce, the money that it costs, the emotional costs, and then the cost of lack of production in our lives, the lack of production in our businesses, the emotional turmoil, the anger, the frustration, all of these things. It's all a big part of the equation, and it's something that needs to be thought through. We've got Debbie from Arkansas that is joining us now, who is divorced and remarried, and we wanted to get some thoughts from our audience. Like, have you walked through this? How did it go? Like, how much did you spend? Where are you at now? So, Debbie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dani.
Hi. So you're divorced. How much did it cost?
Well, we're actually remarried now.
No, I know, but how much wait, you remarried the same person?
Yes.
I love it.
We did.
Wow.
We fell right back into that trap.
Wow.
But actually, it's better now.
Okay. So how much did that first divorce cost?
Oh, I honestly don't know. Basically, what we tell people is that we split it all and then we spent it all. And then we got remarried and basically had to start all over again.
Yeah. So that was
everything.
That was a financial reset.
Yes,
wow.
It was. And then about 3 years into our remarriage, our whole world just came crashing down again. And we almost got divorced again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So divorce is expensive. Do you agree with that or disagree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're still trying to rebuild what we had together.
How many years ago did you get a divorce?
It's been about 9 years.
Wow.
And we were married for 20 before we divorced.
Oh my gosh, you sound like you're
So
25.
There was a lot.
Debbie, you literally sound like you're 25 years old. I can't believe this. So you were married for 20 years. You ended in a divorce. So that was costly. You're like, I don't even know how much money that cost us. And you're 9 years later, you're still trying to recover, and you both are remarried to each other again.
Yes.
So what's your recommendation for those people who've been married for 20 years and are looking at getting a divorce?
We recommend counseling. And
it's a lot less expensive.
It is a lot less expensive. And it's sad that people don't feel like they can afford counseling. And if they would just look at the flip side of it, it's so much cheaper. It is so much cheaper. But it's hard to tell people that when they're in that state of mind. We did find that about ourselves, being stubborn and ego and prideful. So.
Yeah.
But counseling definitely helps if you find the right one. That is for sure.
Yeah. Well, and what's the fruit that you get out of the counseling? It's not only that you save the money from a divorce, but what's the fruit that came out of the counseling between the two of you?
Yeah, so you learn to communicate.
Yeah.
And you're in a safe place. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is that fear is what keeps people from being honest. Mm-hmm. And really, when you are truthful and you do just go there and talk about the hard things, it's amazing how immediately the weight is just lifted. And then it just constantly, from that point, just starts bringing more and more restoration.
And trust.
And then you
trust. Actually, trust gets built when we share the hard stuff. And we start telling the truth about how we feel. And we allow our partner to have feelings too.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
We allow our husband.
It's not hard to do.
Go ahead.
It's not hard to tell it.
It's hard to hear it.
But it's also not hard to hear it. Mm-hmm. But you both get your chance, but you've also are in a safe place and a safe environment.
Yep.
So
no question.
Yeah.
I've seen resurrection of marriages again and again and again, and it really always boils down to what you just said, which is really just so powerful, and it's about humility. That's what it's about. This is Dani Johnson. We will continue with more right after this. Financing a home can be a nightmare if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Ask me. I know this. That's why the first thing you have to do is find a mortgage company you can trust that has your back through the entire process. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your current one, or looking for an investment property, Rick Fujisaki at Wintrust Mortgage wants to win your trust. Rick understands the mortgage industry, and he can take all the stress out of financing a home for you. His easy-to-use worksheets will help you calculate the mortgage you can afford. And he has a unique tool designed to help you find and set aside money for your down payment. And when you work with Rick, who, by the way, I love, a portion goes to caring for the poor through King's Ransom Foundation. So visit loanmortgageguys.com and start building your dream today. Again, contact Rick at loanmortgageguys.com. Have you ever wondered if your investments are making enough money for retirement? What if you could buy an investment rental property for as little as $35,000 that rents for at least $550 a month? After Aaron and Drew Hudson asked themselves this question, Hudson Real Estate Investments was formed, and now 200 transactions have been conducted. Their system helps individuals buy and hold real estate. Their definition of a great buy and hold is a property that pays you a monthly positive cash flow from day one. Hudson Real Estate Investments has a team who find properties available for immediate purchase, vet tenants, and have qualified property management in place. So if you're looking to have freedom and live your life on your own terms, grab your phone and text the word future to 484848. Get started today. Text the word future to 484848. Secure your future now.
Prior to plugging into First Steps to Success, I was a depressed, hopeless, suicidal drug addict. I had no vision for my life. I absolutely hated people, hated myself. I felt shackled by my debt, and I had toxic relationships. Since plugging in, I've been drug-free for almost 18 months. I paid off nearly $14,000 worth of debt in 14 months. I have completely restored my relationships with my friends and my family. I have a vision for my life now, and I'm actually live and not exist anymore. So I don't know if you have debt or not, or if your life's going perfectly the way you want it to go. But if not, I highly recommend you get registered today for the next First Steps to Success.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, we were just lost. We had no hope and light at the end of the tunnel, and we were drowning in debt. After coming to First Steps to Success and plugging into DaniJohnson.com, our income has doubled. We have paid off over $76,000 of debt in just 45 months. My husband and my communication skills have just raised us through the roof, and my husband has cut back his hours, making more income. If you want results like these, you better get to First Steps to Success.
I have been plugging into Dani Johnson for the last 8 years, believe it or not. And people say, why so long? Well, because there's a lot to do in life, and it has changed every area of my life. My business has exploded, my spiritual life has been unmatched, and my relationship with my wife and my family has just been fantastic. We've paid off over $200,000 of debt in just 2 years. We're debt-free, and I just could not be happier. But if you want to change any area of your life, whether it's your business, your marriage, your relationship with your kids, your financial situation, or getting out of debt, or your spiritual life, I would tell you, you cannot afford to miss First Steps to Success. It has just been a blessing to me and my family. So I really invite you to just get online and get your ticket to the next First Steps to Success. Thank you very much.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
I don't care how much you guys are fighting. There is a solution. There is a way. But you got to be willing to humble yourself. Oh, but Dani, he's such a jerk. Or man, she's such a nag. We just don't get along. We fell out of love. Divorce is expensive, to the tune of $28 billion every year. Not to mention that many women fall into poverty after a divorce. In fact, check this out. This is according to AmericanValues.org. In order to maintain the same quality of living, the divorced couples has to increase their income by 30% just to have the same standard of living than when they were married. Divorce is expensive. It wreaks havoc on your confidence, on your happiness. Some people think they're going to be happier when they get out of it, but in all reality, it's not necessarily what happens. People then spend less time with their kids because the kids now are split between two different places. There's a big picture when it comes to divorce. It's not as cheap or as easy as our society has made it look. And I believe that there's an all-out assault against marriage. How and why? Friend, just look at the results. 1 and 2 end in divorce. Divorce is making somebody $28 billion, many somebody's $28 billion every year. I also see that there's a reset on wealth, the impact it has on the kids, the ongoing cost of the divorce, emotional costs, financial costs, physical costs. So I almost believe that we have been conditioned for divorce, and we've got to rise up and fight against it. We've got Misie from Indiana, who is divorced and willing to share what has been the financial outcome and the cost on her since that divorce. Misie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dani.
Hi.
Yes, I just wanted to share. I was a stay-at-home mom with 3 little kids. One had a disability, and it was my husband, my ex-husband now, his child from another marriage that I took care of, and then our 2 children. And my ex-husband decided he found this woman that was making as much money as he was making, and he thought it was going to be great to take as much money, get a divorce, go start a life with her. He moved to another state. He fought for every penny he could get, left us. I had traded in my vehicle for the stepson to have a handicapped van. So I was left without a home, without a vehicle, and no job. And he moved out of state and left us. It was very devastating, and I thank God that I had friends that helped us out financially, secure a home and a car, and I got a job. But it was never, we went from high middle class to poverty level just in an instant. And to say, what goes around comes around. The woman that my husband thought was just wonderful because she made a lot more money, actually took him for a ride financially and left him without anything about 10 years later. Wow. So, yeah, I think it's very expensive. It's devastating, and and he also, his relationship with his children was never the same. Never. And to this day, he still doesn't have a good relationship with them. So it just changes everything.
Yeah, it does, and it's very hurtful. Man, first of all, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I understand my first marriage ended in adultery, and I've been on both sides of adultery, sadly. Just devastating. It's horrifying. But the fact that you've recovered the best that you can is awesome. It says a lot about who you are. And yes, what goes around comes around. And I don't ever pray for that for somebody, but
yeah, I never did either.
You know what I mean? Like it's a terrible thing when you see something like that happen. And if he doesn't learn his lesson, it's probably going to happen again. Just as if we don't learn our lesson, it's going to happen again. Did you ever remarry?
I have remarried. Just 2 years ago, I got remarried. Yeah.
And how's that going?
It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
Do you have any fears of it happening again? Yes, you already said it.
I guess that doubt is always there. Even though I think, we are able to talk about things where before I could not. My husband would just always get angry and just storm off, so we can never really discuss any issues. And this time around, my husband and I are able to talk about things that are, bothering us and things we need to work on. And we both have our issues we need to work on. And it's very nice, actually. But I still have that fear.
So you know that what you fear most is going to happen.
Oh, no.
That's how it works. We literally attract the reality of whatever we're fearing. And fear is just an emotion, and this is actually a program from your past. So you dwelling on being cheated on, you're going to create that reality for yourself. You'll create it through your communication to your husband. You'll create it through manifesting jealousy inside of your heart, being paranoid about other women, feeling insecure, not sexy enough, not good enough. All of these things will trap your mind. You'll begin to dwell on them, and you'll create your own reality. You'll push him into the arms of another woman. Did you fear your first husband cheating on you?
It was him. It was a gut feeling.
Yeah, it's a yep.
It was just.
Yep.
I knew something was really wrong.
So I would definitely work on that issue right there, lady, and I would be dwelling on faithfulness and trust. and building that. You got to build that with your mouth. You got to build it with your mind. You got to build it with your heart. Otherwise, divorce number 2 is lurking in the background. And that's how it happens. And that's how there's statistics that prove it. You know what I mean? And there's science that proves that this is how our mind works. And so you want to use your mind to build a new future on trust versus, is this going to happen again? You know what I mean? Because then we withdraw. We don't allow ourselves to get as close as we should be getting to our spouse. And we stay away from intimate places. This is Dani Johnson. Thanks so much for joining us today. Divorce is expensive. You might want to try counseling. We'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless.